Welcome, everyone. Roll call.
Trustee Gomez?
Present.
Trustee Shaw?
I'm sorry. Is my mic on? Yes, I'm here.
Trustee Larkey?
Here.
Trustee Williams?
Here.
Trustee Sparks?
Here.
Okay, I'll do an invocation. I'll do an invocation.
And next will be Ken Williams doing our invocation tonight.
Lord, we thank you for your goodness and mercies and for this opportunity to serve the people of Orange County. We thank you for the love and the grace and the charity that is given to this country. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. And being that this is Tim Shaw's first night back, I think we have to have him do the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right. Please stand if you're able. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam President, I'll make a motion for the adoption of today's agenda.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All
And-
those opposed? All right, passes.
We have no minutes.
No.
On the public, we have one public comment, Madam President, the Honorable Lynn Riddle. You get 3 minutes, Judge. You'll set the timer, Naru? Very good.
Good evening, board members. I rise this evening especially to thank Trustee Gomez for all of her years of service here. I believe it's 6 or more. And just to assure you that while I don't have authority to speak for the entire county or your district, I do believe that hundreds of thousands of people of your constituencies and mine would celebrate with me and congratulate you on your years of service. Let me just inform you as well that I have served at some of the highest levels of government. That's not to brag, it's just to talk about my experience. And rarely have I seen or witnessed any more noble, courageous, honest, brilliant devotion to public service. I know that your service will be an inspiration and a model for young people, but let me assure you too, that for people even of my age, in my 8th decade, you have inspired me and shown me new ways to be a better and a fuller human being in public service. So I thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. That's the only one, Madam President.
All right. Then we'll go ahead and get right into the public hearing.
One more.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you, Drew. We have one more public comment. Mr. Felipe Delgado. Thank you, sir. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Hi. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Felipe Delgado, and I have 2 children enrolled at Irvine International Academy. My children just completed their first year at the school, and the end of school celebrations included the first kindergarten graduation ceremony, which my youngest child was able to participate in. There were countless parents who came to see their kids move up to the 1st grade, and a lot of happy people, children there at that time. Each child had their picture taken with their teacher and Dr. Watson, and I have to commend Dr. Watson because he stood there for every child, and there was a lot of them. What followed was a makeshift carnival set up by the kindergarten teachers for the graduating class. And I have to admit, that was the biggest memory that my child took home, was the carnival. What followed was individual celebrations for each grade level. The largest was the 4th and 5th grade celebrations. Along with some great food, each child received an award based on their individual achievement for the school year. All the teachers were invited, all the staff was, the office staff was invited, including the janitorial staff, who I want to especially mention. It's Danny and Joseph. They do a terrific job keeping the school clean. Danny, in particular, directs the traffic in the morning so that all the kids can safely make it across the parking lot where some of the parents are running a little bit too fast. So it was a great time. I wish you guys could have been there to see how we ended the school year. I wanted to thank all the IAA board members for their efforts. Like any first-year endeavor, they had to make a lot of tough decisions. I especially want to acknowledge Doug Hewson. His leadership and his even stream is the benchmark for the IAA board. But I wanted to especially thank all the trustees here that voted for the IAA charter. It was your foresight that created a huge opportunity, not only for my family, but all the families in the Irvine community who truly wanted to take advantage of an international charter school in Irvine. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Delgado. That's it for public comments, Madam President.
Okay, so back to the hearing.
At this point, we'd like to open the public hearing for the 2022-23 preliminary budget. Hearing no public comments from the public, I'd like to close the hearing at this time.
Very good. And Madam President, on item number 2, it's my pleasure and honor, and I thank the good superintendent, Renee, staff, and Nina, to make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 budget for the County Department of Education. I'll need a second for that.
Second. Sorry, second. There it is.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have a comment here. I know the change had to do with adding the $125,000 for a lobbying firm. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And how do we?
That's what we talked about. That is correct.
Right, right. So how did we arrive at the $125,000?
I believe that was a conversation that we had as a board, and that was a number that was put out there. And that's how we arrived at it.
I believe it was in response, because that's what we're paying Ball and Frost or something similar, so we just took sort of a matching number, really. Wasn't a lot of thought put into it.
Did you say there wasn't a lot of thought put into it?
That's how the discussion, and Dr. Maharis is agreeing, is that we discuss it, Ball and Frost is 125, so we would just take that number, and later if it needs adjusting, we'd adjust it. But that seemed to be a good ballpark, since that's what we're paying our current firm.
Okay, so just to clarify then, the 125, is that annual? Is that what we're?
Yes, it's for the 22-23 budget.
Okay, so the matching was to match what we were going to pay the department's lobbying firm? So you're matching it annual to annual?
Well, that's my opinion. You were there. You can throw and tell me what you think it was, but that was what we talked about, yes.
Well, I know all we did was talk about it matching, but I don't know if that meant for the entire year, because this scope of work looked like it was only for a partial year. That's why I'm asking how the 125 came up.
So the fund that's in the budget is different than what is in the contract. So that is true.
Okay. Okay, so it's different. All right.
Any other
I
discussion?
call the question, Madam President.
Okay, I will call the question.
I'm sorry, we would need to do a roll call vote since Lisa's not here.
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Barkey?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Sparks?
Yes.
Very good. We passed the budget, Madam President. I make a motion to Madam President for action item number 3 to establish a community forum that would discuss and promote and advance and strengthen charter schools here locally in Orange County as well as in the state. And that date of the public forum, as in the agenda item, it was going to be in August, but apparently, after discussion with staff, it might be better because of more practical issues like parking lot issues that were being repaired, to move it to September. Not a firm date, and we'll get back on that firm date at next week's meeting.
So any discussion?
May I just clarify also on the selection of the expert panel we're going to have? How does that going to go about it? Is it going to be like before, where each trustee gets asked a panelist to join, or what does that look like? How do we constitute the panel? Forgive me, I'm trying to get
So
contact.
did we have a second for the motion so we can discuss it?
I'll make the second on the motion.
Okay. Now, do you want me to answer your question?
Please.
Trustee? Very good. So yes, as usual, as this board has done in the past, we've had community forums. And I think the format that we use and the methodology is a fine one, and it reflects equality in time for everybody. The actual panelists will be creating, and again, this will be on our agenda for July, an expert panel. And we'll ask the good superintendent to help us with recommendations, other thoughts. I've already contacted Gloria Romero. I've contacted California charter school folk, and hoping to get a state assemblyman or state senator who would be able to help us and explain and understand the state legislative process. And the whole idea and purpose of this would be to understand what we can do to help and strengthen charter schools.
Very good.
Any other discussion?
So are you saying that each board member would put forth a name? Is that what's-
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Ready to vote?
It's a resolution, I believe.
I just have a question about the resolution. The third paragraph of the resolution, looking at page 24, when we talk about the OCBE desires that all students are treated with dignity and respect regardless of ethnic background, gender, creed, race, religion, and sexual orientation. And I guess when I read that, that kind of just came up to me, is that, you know, why are we opposing, or some of the board members have opposed ethnic studies, but yet we write a resolution that says that all people should be treated with dignity and respect. I just had a little bit of difficulty with that. Talking in the next paragraph, talking a little bit about deep concerns to the erosion of charter schools, where this board has approved a number of charter schools regardless of concerns about quality and things. So I don't think they're an erosion of charter schools. I think there's probably been more of a promotion of charter schools. So those two things kind of just didn't seem consistent with some of the conversations that we've had.
Well, I think talking about erosion, I think maybe it's talking more about statewide and some of the anti-charter bills, not the erosion of charter schools at this particular board.
Yeah, well, because it references Orange County in the same paragraph, so that was why. And I would tend to agree with you, Mary, that, you know, if you're talking about statewide, that might be a different, maybe written a little bit differently, but it referenced Orange County, which means us.
So Becky, as the originator of these questions, are you directing that at me?
I don't know who wrote it.
Wait, can I just,
Yeah.
the way I read that, though, is that we are concerned about the erosion of charter schools, not that we're concerned about the erosion of charter schools in Orange County. Am I reading that right, Ken?
I think generally the concept is we need to do everything we can to strengthen it, and there has been
a lot of policies at the state level that have hurt charter schools. And so the idea and concept was, how can we help and strengthen charter schools? Now, regarding the question, Becky, you asked about ethnic studies, the foundations of which I don't agree with, I'm not sure there's anybody that is in this meeting right now that has any problems with the teaching of ethnic studies. It was only the critical ethnic study curriculums that were coming from the Sacramento that we disagreed with. Remember, there's constructive ethnic studies and there's critical ethnic studies. And our forum demonstrated there is a difference between the two types of curriculum. So I am all for ethnic studies curriculum. So your reference that you made there, I would disagree to its foundation.
Okay, so you're saying you would support ethnic studies then in our schools? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. I would support ethnic studies that is constructive and not the critical studies that we demonstrated and we proved at the public forum. That is inherent to the state-approved ethnic study curriculum.
Okay.
I would like to jump in for a second if I could. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yes.
Yeah, critical race theory was introduced at the graduate level in law school, and that's where it's really meant to be, not in the elementary age curriculum. And so there's a big difference and it really depends on how ethnic studies. So I wouldn't say anyone would support ethnic studies curriculum. It depends on what it's targeting. If it's introducing critical race theory at elementary school, I think that's where parents have a problem. So, I mean, we can make a generic comment about it, but I think that's a little bit dangerous. I think we need to be really specific about what we're supporting and what we're not supporting. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Lisa. I think that the critical race theory is a graduate level, and I don't believe that it's being taught in the K-12. So, yeah, I agree with that comment. I think it's a graduate level aspect.
But the problem is it is being taught in the K through 12 curriculum and that was what was introduced, and that's what we demonstrated. And so anyway, that has nothing to do with paragraph 3.
Well, I'm trying to understand
But it's a good academic discussion and public discussion. I enjoy it. I'll be more than happy to continue it with anybody. I call for the question, Madam President.
All right, we'll need a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Barkey?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Sparks?
Yes.
I will sign it.
And on item number 4, Madam President, I'll make a motion approving the consulting and advocacy agreement with the Shea Strategy Group.
I will second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I have a couple questions. This indicates that it is effective on June 22nd, which was a few days ago, before this board was able to review it and have a discussion in public. And so, yeah, I just have a concern about contracts being, with the scope of work also indicated that the date was June 22nd through September 30th. So that kind of goes back to my first question about the lobbying and whether or not this was for a year or this looked like it was just for a short period of time.
Thank you for the question, Trustee Gomez. And on behalf of all of us, you will be missed. To address all your questions, the 125 was a discussion we had publicly for the budget allocation. And oftentimes budget allocations, the initial budget allocations are based on a hypothesis, a good understanding, a best guess. And the best guess that we had for the year-long budget allocation was based on ball frost. After the last board meeting where the department and the board agreed that it was appropriate for the board to have its own lobbyist, there was some real immediacy because of the pending vote on SB 286. So on or about the 22nd, maybe the 21st or 20th, something like that, I interviewed 6 lobbying firms. And Mr. Sheehy's firm was, stood alone. There were six recommended, spoke with him. I'm very happy to discuss his credentials with you, but let me address your question directly about the scope of work. Mr. Sheehy came up with an immediate point-by-point plan to address SB 286 with the full understanding that the board would not be able to convene until this date. So he began work without even having a contract. The limited scope of work is a test run. The board is going to appraise what he has done with regard to SB 286, and the contract will end on in September, and if they are displeased with his scope of work or his performance, then we will look for another lobbyist, as the case may be. But that was the idea behind this, that there is a vote coming up in the Education Committee of the Assembly tomorrow. So Mr. Sheehy was able to get an objection letter put together and have a strategy for that. So that's why the contract was for 6/22. That was it. That was my decision.
Okay, so it was your decision and not a board decision?
Correct.
Interesting, okay. And there was no RFP put out? You selected you said 6 or 5?
I was given six recommendations. I had a day to interview them all. Quite a day.
I'm sure it was. Okay. No further questions.
Thank you.
We'll call the question.
Trustee Gomez?
No.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Barkey?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Sparks?
Yes.
Could I make one other comment? I would like to change my vote on the budget to a yes, since I have the items I objected to were in the other item. So I will change my vote on the budget to a yes as opposed to a no.
Okay.
That's never happened before. I have to think about a parliamentary procedure. Is that consistent with our parliamentary procedure?
I believe you could change a vote up during the meeting, right?
Yeah, I would defer to you and Trustee Shaw on parliamentary procedure. I'm just happy to have some unanimity among the board.
May I ask the question, why, again, why the change in heart?
I just indicated why.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it go through our parliamentary procedure. Does anyone have it in there?
In my experience on the city council and other government boards, I believe you could always change your vote up until the time that the meeting was adjourned. You could request that the record be amended to change your vote.
That has been my experience as well.
Okay, but we don't run by any other parliamentary procedure but the ABCs, so what you've done on your city councils, with all due respect, may be what you've done in your councils. So let me quickly, it's never happened before in my 27 years. Let me see if there is something here. Please bear with me. Well, it doesn't address that in our parliamentary procedures. But would it be more appropriate, council, to make a recommendation to redo that vote? I mean, can a member just do that afterwards?
I'm looking at Robert's Rules of Order for Dummies
We don't go by
right
that
now.
either.
And I was just trying to get some guidance on that, but the meeting has not been closed. And the vote would go from a 4-1 to a 5-0. So if it's the will of the board, we revote, then it's the will of the board. However, I don't think it's absolutely necessary.
Okay, since I was a maker of the motion then, again, I've never done this before, Would it be appropriate for me then to remake that motion?
We'd have to go back to the agenda item. I think it's much simpler to have the record reflect that trustee Gomez changed her vote.
Right, right. So if I remake the motion and we take a vote again, that would.
That would make the record as well.
Technically,
Right,
okay. So then what I'd like to do, to make this correct technically, is to remake my motion for item number 2, which is approval of the 2022-23 budget. And again, special thank you to Renee and Nina and Jeff and the good superintendent, as our counsel, Gregor, and I, we talked about the logistics and details, and it was a very good conversation, very supportive conversation. So I'll make that motion for approval of item number 2.
Second.
Very good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have to do a roll call?
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Shaw,
Yes.
Trustee Barkey,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Yes.
Trustee Sparks.
Yes.
All right. I think I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that.
May I make a comment first?
Of course.
I just want to thank you, Madam President. I'm just glad to be back. I apparently go on sabbatical on occasion around here, but it's good to be back, and I just wanted to thank the voters of the 4th District. They just finished counting the votes here on the 25th, and looks like I get to stick around for a little bit. But I am glad we're having a meeting here today, one more time to see Becky. So I've enjoyed sitting next to Trustee Gomez here, and I'll just say it. I mean, the last several years I was on my city council, I was on the losing end of a lot of 4-1 votes, and it was frustrating sometimes and difficult. But there we were disagreeing and being very disagreeable with each other. I've always found Becky to be somebody we don't share a philosophy, but I think Becky's been a real role model. At least personally, we can disagree without being disagreeable with each other. And I look forward to seeing you every meeting, and really wish you the best in your future. And hopefully we'll keep running into each other. And you've certainly come to every meeting very well prepared, and obviously you've done a lot of reading and came with a lot of passion, and I've appreciated that, Becky, and I think you have represented your position very well, and done it as you saw fit. So thank you for your years of service here on the board, and being a good seatmate for me, and helping show me the ropes as I got situated here. So we'll miss you for sure, and I look forward to all you can accomplish in the future. So best wishes.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you for those nice words. All right. No other comments? We are adjourned.